Here I am with Annie again to show you how I go about putting on the bridle after having practiced all those things in the last few videos. In this particular situation, I'm going to go ahead and leave the halter on and show you how I can use that if I'm working with a horse who is learning to give to the halter and doing a pretty good job, but still needs a fair amount of fixing. So I don't want my horse to find a way to escape where I like the head to be. I like my hands and bridle and such to be in a position so that as she explores where to keep her head, I don't want to discourage her from testing or trying or exploring. But when she does explore, I want her to find the boundaries and I want her to then give to them. So if I'm working with a horse again that's really creative in finding the little open doors that maybe I haven't closed yet, haven't taught them that they aren't there, that I'll go ahead and leave the halter on. And so I'm going to do that with this particular situation of me putting Annie's snaffle bit on. So what I'm going to do here is find a nice spot where she can have her head on pretty straight. And I'm going to ask her just to back up a little to get her front feet pretty square. I think that makes it a little bit easier for them to stand. And you can see she's willing to drop her head, but that was a little bit evasive. She dropped it away from me as if to escape. And here you can see as I bring her my way, she is a little bit resistant, and that's nice there. So as I mentioned, as you're bridling your horse, that you don't really know what they're going to offer that day. So that's why it's a good exercise to use to connect to your horse. You want to find that you want to teach them always to find that sweet spot and to learn to give easier and easier and easier. So today, and I mentioned this before, you can really see I'm bringing her this way, but what she's doing is bringing her whole head this way, and she's avoiding coming this way. Yeah, that's nice there. That's nice. Yeah. Good. So you can see she's pretty willing to give to the halter. So I have a macate with a lead rope attached. So I'm going to put that over the bend here in my arm. And I have the lead rope then in front of that, since I'm going to leave the halter on. And I'm going to bring the headstall around to my right. And then I'm going to ask her to drop her head. So now my right arm, and you can see this, is on her right side. So that now begins to define the rectangle for her. And my right arm is also above her head and her neck. So if she goes up, she could run into my arm and realize that's about as far up as it'll be comfortable for her to go. And then I bring this around with my left hand and I place the snaffle bit right underneath the chin. And I hold the headstall in a really nice position for me that it doesn't get in her eyes. And you can see if she were to look right, she'd run into the headstall. And I can also grab a hold of the halter, which I'll show you again in a minute, so that if she wants to look right, I have a little bit more to use to help guide her. And also I can use the halter, because I have my thumb over a piece of it here, to ask her to drop her head if I think that is going to be necessary. So the snaffle bit is in my fingers, and I'm going to drop the headstall a little bit, and I'm going to reach and put the snaffle bit right there between her lips. I'm going to bring that up, and then I'm going to guide it right into her mouth. And today I'm going to use my thumb because I can feel Annie's just a little bit resistant to open that mouth. And I don't want to bang the snaffle bit on her teeth. So when she does open, I want to be able to guide it right over those teeth. Then I'm going to slide the chin strap over her chin, and you can see I was using my right hand to lift the headstall to help me guide that bridle in. And again, what was really important is that I didn't let that snaffle bit bang on her teeth. And now you can see her head still in a nice position. And you can see I can even pet on her here, and I'm keeping the headstall out of her eyes. Then I'm going to take her right ear forward and bring the headstall right over it, and then her left one. She's real comfortable with her ears. I'm going to take the reins and I'm going to put them right over the horn so that they are secure up there. And if your horse is a little bit fidgety, now's a good time to pet on them. As you can see, I pet on her a lot. And I think that's what helps them be comfortable in situations. I don't rush through it, especially when I'm working on getting them comfortable. And again, like I mentioned, this is a great opportunity to connect with your horse. So if you find yourself rushing and they're a little fidgety, maybe they're letting you know that you could slow down and be a little more connected to your horse. Because it's that little connection there that helps our awareness grow, which I think makes the ride a little bit more meaningful each time. Okay, so I'm going to bring her this way. And I'm going to show you here how when I was bridling her, putting the snaffle bit in her mouth, that I had my thumb right here over the halter. So that and the halter is in such a position for her, and you can even drop your halter a little, that I could put my thumb around the halter and I could still use my fingers to guide the snaffle bit in nicely. So that allows me to keep her from looking right. It also allows me to drop her head if she would. There she goes. Good girl. So now I'm going to take the halter off, and I'll show you how I do this. I think you can do this with any halter. So I undo the knot here so I can drop it off of her neck. So then the little nose band comes down in front of her nose, which should be no problem because she's real comfortable with things in front of her nose now that we've done those previous exercises. So now I'm going to bring the nose band here in her mouth. So she gets another opportunity. I'm going to open the mouth. And I'm going to guide this in just the way I guide the snaffle bit. Even though it's soft, I still don't want it to bang her teeth. So I'm going to bring it up on top of the snaffle bit, around behind it, and then back down underneath again. And they're going to try not to let it drag over her teeth or make it too uncomfortable. And then I bring it up around in front of the chin strap, and then my halter is off. And if you are struggling getting your bridle off, which you know, if once you get it pretty good to go on, sometimes it makes it a lot easier to come off. But I've seen a lot of horses too that when they go to take the bridle off, the horses help too much. And so you can do this exercise in reverse. You can put the halter on again by just bringing it, you know, down in front of the chin strap here. I'm not going to put it on. And then again in her mouth and behind the snaffle bit and over. And then you have the halter on to help you make your unbridling, taking the snaffle bit off successfully too, so that your horse doesn't quickly try to help you there. And then you can guide them and keep their head in a nice position. Because when I take my snaffle bit off, which I'll show you here in a moment, that I like her to wait on me there so that I can easily drop the bit out of the mouth. And I think that's important, that sometimes horses are troubled by the bridling because the bit has bumped their teeth enough times that they become a little bit uncertain. So I'm going to ask her to give to the bit there. This is nice. She's nice and quiet. And I'm going to put the halter around her neck this time so that I have something to direct her feet should she get concerned and need to leave. So now I'm going to ask her to drop her head. So now I'm just going to take the reins and the headstall, and again I'm going to take it over one ear and then the other. And I have the bit again in my left hand right up to this point. So since she's gotten comfortable just being in this position and being comfortable with it, she's waiting for me to take it out. And you can see she's working her mouth, so she's willing to let it go. And now I can just slowly drop the bit, just like that. And then it becomes out of her mouth just as easy as it goes in. So that's how I go about bridling. And I work at finding little nuances each time to connect to my horse, because I think since I do this every day, it's a great opportunity to start my ride off. I think groundwork's a really good opportunity to start your ride off, but so is the bridling. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. Happy trails.